What is the connection between executive function and mindfulness?
It's a good question. Having a mindful practice, having meditation practice, can help improve executive functions. In part, you're exercising them, you're working them when you're trying to focus when you're focusing your attention. But partly, it's reducing stress, which helps executive functions. So Cliff's work, other people's work has shown that if you have a mindfulness practice, you have better executive functions.
Okay. Rob, you said something early on that was, if you're a competent mindfulness teacher, and I went, oh, what is a competent mindfulness teacher? Because there's a lot of teachers here, and we're encouraging, integrating including parent teachers, integrating mindfulness, and I just went, oh man, competent, that means something.
Well, it's a great question, and I think many of us are contemplating what are the qualities that really help the efficacy of this work. But here's what it isn't. Shut up, sit down, and listen to the bell, kids. So I know no one's doing that, but
no.
So we have this hypothesis, and we don't know if it's right, and Kim and I have had a lively debate about it, called the embodiment hypothesis, that just like, for me to be an excellent teacher of dance or music, it would be helpful, and it's not always necessary to be a practitioner of dance or music, and to sort of know it both from the technique side, but also the embodied experience of its side. So I think that it's an open question. And as we heard today from both Goldie and Kim has told me, sometimes even if we don't know that much about mindfulness training, but we do the Mind Up program, what's interesting is by teaching the kids, we start to think, wow, I'd like to learn more about that. The kids teach the parents. So it diffuses in different ways, and I think it's still an open question what that means. So.
This question
the reason I said it, sorry, just one other thought, was when Kim suggested that mindfulness could be contraindicated in adolescence because it could exacerbate depression rather than suppress it. And I think if the technique is taught right, the studies show that it actually reduces it. But one could imagine a situation where it had the opposite effect. And so doing no harm is just a key principle in this work.
We have a question here from the audience, and I think either of you could answer it. It's about, Rob, you specifically talked about mindfulness training, that it leads to compassion and empathy. And in a way, some of the things that you talked about, Adele, that lead to compassion and empathy in terms of executive function. The question really is about, is this about explicit training of children? Can you explicitly train children in things like compassion, empathy, caring?
I'm much more of an action person than a lecturing person. So I think the way that you train compassion is by having children do compassionate acts. And you can lecture till you're blue in the face about the benefits of compassion and what you can do that's compassionate. But the kids learn it by doing it. And prefrontal cortex, the area that's important for executive functions, the area I study, is overrated. Because for executive functions, for prefrontal cortex, you're thinking about what you're doing. What you want is for something like compassion to be second nature, for you no longer to need to think about whether you're going to do it. It's what you just do because of who you are. And that becomes who you are by doing it and doing it and doing it. And there's nothing else but that will accomplish that. What happens if you keep doing it is that it moves from prefrontal to older areas of the brain, who can do it so much better than we can when we're trying to think about what we're doing. When you do it, that comes naturally. It comes so much better than when you have to use prefrontal. And that's what the 10,000 hours of practice is all about, to have it be second nature, to have it be natural, and it just comes from who you are.
Did you want to speak to that?
I think that the evidence shows, and Cliff, just jump up and say that's wrong if I am. No, I think that mindfulness training, by helping us to develop somatic awareness, awareness of our own emotions, in a way is also strengthening those same brain centers that are helpful for empathy and empathic responding. So in that sense, there's a pathway. I totally agree with Adele. For little kids, I mean, especially in an age where the arts and physical ed, I don't know what's happening as much here, is going away, that these service activities, that these active activities are critical. I would just add, within the mindfulness tradition, say loving kindness practice is a mental practice that uses imagination, designed also in a way to create a new habit stream that's second nature through the extension of emotions of love and kindness towards those that are close to me. And then the idea is, okay, then towards someone who's neutral, my bus driver or something this morning, and then towards people who've had conflict with, and then all beings. And in a way, that also is an extension practice from what I know, from the known to the unknown, that I think seems to potentially have good effects on this as well. So I think there's, as Adele said, thousands of roads, thousands of doors here.
I think before you extend, you have to have that gut knowledge.
Yes.
Which little kids don't have if all they're hearing is the talk. But,
Yes.
you know, I mean, Mind Up has children do acts of kindness.
Yes.
That's compassionate action. It doesn't have to be arts. It can be anything.
Yes.
All right, so we have just a couple of minutes left. You've said a few times that, well, thank you, Molly. But we're at the, I'm just debating now whether to do one of these. These guys are going to be there tomorrow on Saturday, so we don't really have time to do justice to the long questions. I'm going to say these, give them to you for tomorrow, and hopefully people will come to your session. My question for you is this. You've said that there isn't a lot of research. We're very new at this, but just imagine who's sitting here. These are teachers, these are parents, these are practitioners. What's the one thing you'd say we do know for sure right now, both of you? It's not a good sign, folks.
Yes, that was just wait time.
Yeah, that's good. At the air between the logs. Okay, well, thank you.
I think it's not just one thing, but one of the really important things for self-control, it has come up a lot, which is to take the time. So one of the things we work with when we train children in inhibitory control is to help them wait before they give the answer. Because when they give the answer right away, they're often wrong. They give the first thing that comes to mind. But if they can wait, the first thing that comes to mind subsides, and what they know is the right answer comes to the response threshold and can come out. So one of the things that's just a theme that's coming through is the importance of not immediately acting or responding, but giving yourself a chance to get the more considered response to come up. But another thing is that children learn what they live. So the teacher who embodies what she's trying to teach is the teacher that you learn the lesson from. Because your actions speak louder than your words. So if you're saying one thing and doing something else, they're going to pick up on what you're doing, not what you're saying. But another thing that I don't understand so much, especially in BC, where we talk about social responsibility, children pick up right away on what the society values. And we give awards for being the best student. We give awards for being the best athlete. We don't give any awards for being a wonderful human being. I think if that got acknowledged more, the students would have more of an appreciation that that's something that people around me really care about. They
Well,
value
let's
that.
do it. Why don't you talk to us more at the Dalai Lama Center? We'll get on it.
Okay.
That's a very good idea.